The Renaissance, when humanity reawakened, 1300s to 1500s. There are moments in history when the world shifts. The Renaissance was not just a period, it was a rebirth of human potential. Who started it? The Renaissance began in Italy in the 14th century. Cities like Florence, Venice, and Rome became centers of innovation. Key figures shaped this transformation: Leonardo da Vinci, artist, scientist, engineer Michelangelo, sculptor of David, painter of the Sistine Chapel Raphael, master of harmony and perspective; Galileo Galilei, father of modern science, Niccolò Machiavelli, author of The Prince, the Powerful Medici Family, patrons who funded genius. These were not just artists. They were thinkers who dared to ask, what if we could understand the world ourselves? What was the Renaissance? The word Renaissance means rebirth. It was a cultural movement, 13th to 15th centuries, that revived the ideas of ancient Greece and Rome and focused on humanism, the belief that humans have value, intelligence, and creative power. Before the Renaissance, Europe was emerging from the Middle Ages. The Black Death, 1347 to 1351, had killed an estimated 30 to 60% of Europe's population. Society was shaken, but from tragedy came transformation. People began focusing on science, art, literature, architecture, education, individual achievement. It was the moment humanity said, we are capable of greatness. When and where did it spread? It began around 1300 in Florence, then spread across Italy in the 1400s. By the late 1400s and 1500s, the Renaissance reached France, England, Germany, Spain. The invention of the printing press by Johannes Gutenberg around 1440 revolutionized communication. Books became cheaper. Knowledge spread faster than ever before. Before printing, books were handwritten and rare. After printing, ideas could travel across continents. Knowledge was no longer limited to elites. Why did it happen? Several powerful forces came together. Wealth from trade. Italian cities became rich through Mediterranean trade routes. Fall of Constantinople, 1453. Scholars fled to Italy, bringing ancient Greek texts. Human curiosity, people wanted to question, explore, and discover. Patronage system families, like the Medici, funded artists and scientists. Printing press information spread at revolutionary speed. It was the perfect storm of opportunity and imagination. Achievements that changed the world art revolution. Renaissance artists mastered perspective, realistic anatomy, light and shadow, chiaroscuro. Masterpieces created the Mona Lisa, the Last Supper, the Sistine Chapel ceiling. Michelangelo's David art became realistic, emotional, and human. Scientific breakthroughs. Galileo improved the telescope. Advances in anatomy by Andreas Vesalius. Mathematical perspective in architecture. Foundations of the scientific method. These ideas laid groundwork for the scientific revolution. Literature and thought. Shakespeare. In England, Machiavelli's political realism. Humanist education reforms. People began focusing on individual reasoning rather than blind acceptance. Exploration. The Renaissance spirit encouraged exploration. Columbus, 1492. Vasco da Gama, Magellan. The world expanded physically and intellectually. Facts and figures. Renaissance lasted roughly 300 years. Printing presses spread to 200 plus European cities. By 1500, over 20 million books printed by 1500 Florence became one of Europe's wealthiest cities in the 1400s. Life expectancy slowly increased due to medical study advancements. how it shapes today's world. The Renaissance created the foundation for modern science, modern art techniques, secular education systems, capitalism and banking systems, individual rights thinking, democracy, development, your school education, Renaissance roots, modern hospitals, Renaissance anatomy, scientific research, Renaissance method, creative industries, Renaissance inspiration. The Renaissance taught humanity one powerful lesson. When we invest in knowledge, creativity, and human potential, civilization leaps forward. Outcome, the legacy. By 1600, Europe was transformed. Cities were intellectual hubs. Universities expanded. Innovation accelerated. The Renaissance proved something eternal. Even after crisis, plague, war, and collapse, human creativity can rebuild the world. And that message still applies today. When society struggles, when ideas are questioned, when the future feels uncertain, history reminds us, rebirth is always possible.